You picked it up without thinking. You don't even remember reaching for it. 1 second you were doing something else, and the next your thumb was already moving across the screen. That's not distraction. That's not weakness. That's your ancient brain doing exactly what it was built to do, and it has been doing it for 50,000 years. Your brain is not a modern machine. It's a survival engine wrapped in a thin layer of rational thought. And that engine has one job above all others: scan for change, scan for novelty, scan for anything that might be a threat, a reward, or an opportunity. It was built for a world where missing a signal could get you eaten. Today, that same system fires every time your screen lights up. Psychologist B.F. Skinner spent decades studying the mechanics of reward. In a series of now-famous experiments, he gave animals two kinds of reward systems. In the first, a lever always produced food. In the second, the lever only sometimes produced food, at random intervals, with no pattern. He called this second system variable ratio reinforcement. The animals with unpredictable rewards pressed the lever compulsively. They couldn't stop. Even when food stopped coming entirely, they kept pressing. The predictable group gave up almost immediately. Skinner wasn't studying addiction. He was accidentally mapping the architecture of the most compelling feedback loop ever discovered. Your phone is a Skinner box. Every time you unlock it, you don't know what you're going to find. Maybe something exciting, maybe something important, maybe nothing at all. That uncertainty isn't a bug in the design. It is the design. The moment your reward becomes predictable, it loses its pull. But when it's random, when you can't know if this particular check will deliver something thrilling or nothing, your brain floods with dopamine not when you get the reward, but in anticipation of it. The wanting is more powerful than the getting. Your brain learned that checking feels good, and it has been reinforcing that behavior every single day since you got your first smartphone. But why is this so much harder to resist than other habits? Why does willpower fail so completely here when it works for other things? The answer is older than language. It goes back to a principle your ancestors depended on to stay alive. Neuroscientist Kent at the University of Michigan spent years separating two systems in the brain that most people assume are the same. He called them wanting and liking. Wanting is driven by dopamine. It is the craving, the compulsion, the reaching. Liking is a separate system, a quieter, more localized set of circuits that produces actual pleasure when you get what you were seeking. Here is the critical finding. You can want something intensely and feel almost nothing when you get it. Dopamine doesn't reward you. Dopamine hunts. It is the signal that says go, seek, pursue, not the signal that says you've arrived. What this means for your phone is staggering. You are not checking because it feels good to check. You are checking because your wanting system has been trained relentlessly to send you toward the screen. The liking system, the one that might produce actual satisfaction, barely gets a word in. You pick it up, you scroll, you put it down, and 30 seconds later the wanting starts again. Not because the last check satisfied you, because it never does. The dopamine system doesn't care if you found anything. It resets and waits and fires again. Your ancestors lived in an environment of genuine scarcity. Social signals mattered enormously. Who was angry in the group? Who had formed a new alliance? What was happening at the edge of camp while you were sleeping? Missing a social cue could get you exiled. Getting exiled could get you killed. So your brain evolved a hair-trigger sensitivity to social information. It is deeply, biologically primed to treat a missed social signal as a potential threat. Now consider what a notification is. It is a social signal, small, unverified, possibly important, possibly nothing. Every single one trips the same ancestral wire. Every buzz and ping and red number badge says something might have changed in your social world. Your brain says, check. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar, best known for his work on the cognitive limits of human social groups, has argued that the human brain evolved largely to manage social complexity, tracking relationships, monitoring reputation, predicting others' behavior. These were the tasks that demanded the most cognitive energy in early human societies. The brain you carry was optimized over hundreds of thousands of years to be a social surveillance machine, not for abstract thought, not for long-form reading, not for sustained focus on a single task, for watching other people, for noticing what changed. Your phone delivers a synthetic version of exactly that ancient social data stream, not in slow, real-world doses, in a fire hose, In a perfectly engineered, algorithmically sorted, infinitely renewable stream of social signals that never runs dry. Your brain was built for a village of 150 people. Now it's being handed the social noise of 3 billion, and it cannot look away. This is not a personal failing. Tristan Harris, a former design ethicist at Google who later co-founded the Center for Humane Technology, spent years inside the industry before going public with what he saw. He described the competition for attention as a race to the bottom of the brainstem, a contest among the world's most sophisticated engineering teams to find the most primitive triggers available. Fear, social validation, outrage, novelty, each one selected specifically because it bypasses the prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, and lands directly in the older, faster, reactive systems underneath. Your prefrontal cortex develops slowly. It doesn't fully mature until your mid-20s. It's the part of the brain responsible for impulse control, long-term thinking, and the ability to say not now. It is a relatively recent evolutionary addition. The systems underneath it, the ones responding to novelty, social threat, and reward signals, are ancient. They are fast. And when they and your prefrontal cortex compete, the ancient system wins more than you'd like to admit. This is why putting your phone in another room works so much better than simply deciding not to check it. The decision happens in the prefrontal cortex. The urge happens somewhere far older. Friction, physical distance, an extra step, an inconvenience, is the only thing that slows the older system down long enough for the rational one to catch up. But there's something even deeper going on. Something that explains why the pull is strongest at specific moments, when you're bored, when you're anxious, when you've just had a difficult interaction, when you're lying in bed waiting to fall asleep. Psychologist Matthew Killingsworth at Harvard ran a study tracking the real-time happiness of thousands of people by texting them at random intervals and asking two things. What are you doing? And are you thinking about what you're doing? The results were striking. People's minds wandered to something other than the present moment nearly half the time. And every time they did, they were less happy, regardless of what they were actually doing at the time. The mind wandering itself, not the activity, predicted unhappiness. A distracted mind is an uncomfortable one, and your phone is the fastest available escape from that discomfort. When your mind begins to drift, when the silence gets heavy or the boredom gets sharp, a low-level signal fires in the brain. It registers as unease. It might be called restlessness. What it really is an open loop. The brain doesn't like open loops. It wants resolution. It wants to find something to track, something to respond to, something to close the gap between now and the next salient event. Your phone offers instant closure, instant stimulation, instant social data. The open loop snaps shut, relief, and then it opens again. You are not addicted to your phone in the same way you might be addicted to a substance. There is no chemical being introduced into your bloodstream. What is happening is subtler and, in some ways, harder to address. You have trained a set of very ancient circuits to associate a very specific behavior with relief from discomfort, anticipation of reward, and the soothing of a social threat response. Those circuits do not respond to lectures. They do not respond to willpower alone. They respond to patterns, which means the solution is also ancient. The brain rewires through repetition. It can be trained to tolerate an open loop without immediately reaching for closure. It can be trained to find stillness less aversive. But that training requires sitting with discomfort long enough for the urgency to pass. And in a world engineered to never let that urgency pass, that is one of the hardest things your modern brain will ever be asked to do. Tonight, when you reach for your phone without thinking, you'll know exactly what's happening. You'll know about Skinner's lever and Barrage's wanting system and the ancient social circuits that your screen is quietly hijacking. And you'll probably check it anyway. Not because you're weak, because you're human, because the system pressing down on those circuits is smarter, faster, and better funded than any one person's resolve. But you'll notice the reaching. And that noticing, that tiny gap between impulse and action, is the only place where something different can begin. You picked it up without thinking. Now you might just put it down the same way.